Hey everybody, how you doing? David Kurz here, Kurz Real Estate, here with none other than Alex Kurz, my brother and confidant and agent with me for the last 18 months. Alex, to give you a little backstory, moved here from New York City, called me one day, said, hey Dave, I want to move to Miami, I want to do real estate, I want to work with you, so can I come down? I said, absolutely. Came down here, took the test, passed it, killed it. Here he is 18 months later and about $28 million in listings on the market. So we want to talk a little bit about this and really give you guys a good aspect. Here's episode 2 of Confessions of a Real Estate Agent. How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm
Awesome.
doing great.
So today was a good day for you.
Today was a great day for me.
Today was a great day. Tell everybody why today was a great day.
My biggest listing yet, another 12 million on the board. So very
12,
exciting.
$12 million listing. Now, I heard this thing the other day that said often people will see, like, let's say LeBron James, right? They see the final product,
Yeah.
but they don't see the journey, right? So people look at you and they're like, oh, wow, congrats, Alex, you got a $12 million listing. Let's talk about the path.
That happened yesterday. I called him. He was like, yeah, come over, let me sign. And that's how it happened.
So let's talk about the path there for a minute. Like, how long have you been working on getting wet ink to a contract here?
10 real months.
10 real months.
10 real months, yeah.
So you obtained this lead through what? What form of?
I cold called him.
All right,
the
so
guy, and he told me to never call him back again.
So for those of you that think that,
He told me never call me again.
So right away, for those of you that think that cold calling is an ancient art of lead generation, here it is, fact and play. As a matter of fact, you were cold calling today here at the office.
I was cold calling today. Look, I definitely think it's something that, especially someone as new to the industry as myself, especially, and somebody who's not from Miami, who is really starting from the base entry line of the business. I think it's a great tool to use if you can use it. It's definitely not for everybody, but if you're comfortable on the phone, which is really only a matter of being told no a certain amount of times, eventually you'll get better at it. It's like learning anything else. It's a great tool because as long as you're not too salesman-like, you're upfront and they do have a real interest in selling their property, most of the people will talk to you.
So I know a lot of people out there, and let's tap into cold calling for a minute because I believe in cold calling.
Yeah.
I believe it's not the answer to all your real estate problems, right? But lead generation is the answer to all your real estate problems, and this is one method to lead generate, right?
Yeah.
And so we talk about getting on the phone, doing some cold calls, really focusing in and honing in. And there are agents out there that say, I'm on the phone every day, Monday through Friday, first 3 hours of my day are cold calling.
Yeah.
And those guys are successful. Can you attest to that?
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, it's definitely not the answer. There's so many other things that are, more important in this industry than cold calling. But to say I won't do it is, I think that's a loser's mentality. A lot of people don't want to do it because of the level of rejection. I think
they're afraid of hearing the words no.
The words no, and just for this listing that I got today, he told me no, I'm not ready, not yet. I mean, 100 times.
Don't ever call me again.
He stood me up countless times. Phone calls went unanswered, not returned. But you just keep at it. There's no reason not to.
And so you'll hear often superstar agents out there, right? And they tell you it takes 6 to 18 touches to really be connected with somebody.
I would agree with that. I think it matters too. It varies on the client, on the price point. $12 million listing, some people might be more eager than others, but I think the higher you get, the little bit more difficult it is. But it definitely, you just have to keep in front of their face, and as long as you're doing that in a way that's not obnoxious or an invasion of their space or privacy, I think that when they're ready, as long as you're there, you'll be the one who they turn to.
So your listings on average are in the millions.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you say to somebody that says, man, I've been in the industry, because you've been in the industry for 18 months, 18 whole months, right?
I like to say I've been licensed, but I've really only been working for a year, because I could tell you exactly how not to do this business as well.
All right, so great task. All right, so in the last interview, we were talking to Eric, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking exactly that particular thing. Like the first thing that I told him was the first thing I told you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a blueprint to the business. Other people have done it long before us, and long before me. Let's follow that. We'll win, right?
Yeah.
And you and I made the same mistake, and I tried to help you not make the mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I made the same mistake when I came into the industry. I thought I had a better way, right? And so I was like, trying to figure out the David way of doing the real estate business, right? And I think you went through that as well, and then kind of you honed in, you focused, and you came in. So when what was your wake up call? Like all right, so you come to Miami, you see what needs to be done, and you think to yourself, I think I got a better way to do this. I'm gonna try this, and you tried your avenue of approach. What was your wake up call?
I think it's just, you know, you just see it not working, you fall on your face enough times, and you know, you can have successes.
You fail forward.
Yeah, you fail forward. You can have successes in that time too, which, you know, I did, but it's not enough. It comes to a point where it's like, all right, I'm exhausting myself now.
It wasn't consistent success.
It wasn't consistent success. It's not. I was getting burnt out, and it's just, you know, a matter of like, all right, you know, what haven't I done? Let me try this. And you know, for me, it was, you know, I had a tremendous amount of success from cold calling and getting in people's faces and you know, in a nice way, getting in people's faces and just always being around.
So often, so you guys understand out there, often we joke with Alex and we say he's going to be the first real estate agent at Kurz Real Estate to have a restraining order put on him. and we say that with love and respect, because one thing that Alex does do very well is follow up. And you know, we say that you're going to get one or two answers. You're going to either get a no or a yes, and either way you have an answer. And no really means...
No does not mean never, and that was a hard thing I had to understand as well. You know, there's people who I have their listings now who told me no for an extended period of time. You know, and you just consistently, persistently stay on top of it and always let them know that you're there. I had a client who we just got his listings for 5.8 and another one for slightly less than that, but he told me I was the most pleasantly persistent person he's ever encountered, which is probably the nicest way to say you will not leave me alone.
Yeah.
And that's a compliment.
What about the guy in Palm Island?
Oh my goodness, that was...
We walk in and we finish our appointment with him, and he gives us back all the stuff that he had literally dropped off at his doorstep. I mean, for I don't know how long, because he had a pile of
so many trees gave their lives for that guy's material. I mean, it was so much stuff. He gave us back a bag of material that I had dropped off, and among other things that I had sent, and handwritten letters and constant voicemails and messages. And it was, oddly enough, I actually spoke to the missus of that home today, and I'm still going after that.
Good. And that was how long ago?
6 months ago at least.
6 months ago.
Yeah.
So the idea here is being persistent, because persistence pays. We hear that our entire lives, right? And follow-up, consistent follow-up's the idea here. And so Alex isn't getting on the phone this morning and all of a sudden walking away with $20 million in listings. This is months and months of heartbreaking, aggressive work, right? So one thing that you do, I would say, differently than most people, and I would normally ask you this question, but I want to focus on something. One thing that I see you do differently than most people is that you will cold call, but you will also visit those homes.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that you're more honed in on wanting to be a part of, right? And so what do you do? Like, what do you drop off at people's houses?
I mean, anything. For one, I'm not gonna say which one, but I would say for one, I waited in the lobby of the building for the gentleman's housekeeper to come down, and I stopped her and asked her a couple of questions. You know, Mr. and Mrs. So and So. You know, it's called Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You know, what do they like? What do you like? You know, so I found out that he loves a certain type of Lind chocolate, and she is super into healthy eating, organic cooking. So I bought a nice cookbook and a big package of his favorite chocolate, and wrote a handwritten note with some wine, and I consistently dropped that off. And
What,
when
you
I
dropped
finally
off on
called,
Valentine's
this
Day?
is when after, and and this is after he had, I had been told no 100 times, and when I finally called, I'd say after like 5 days after I did my first big drop off like that, he's like, you're the one who's leaving me the chocolates and the wife, man. You are over the top. All right, come over, fine. And that's how I got in the door.
And it's funny because the guy at Palm Island gave us a package bag, and he said, "I'm giving you everything back except for the wine."
I'm keeping your wine, yeah.
So here we go. Organic cookbook you dropped off because you got to understand who they were and what it is that they liked, which I think is so important, and I think that most people don't do. They're just so focused on getting the listing that they hear no a couple times and they quit and they move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And you have an opportunity to learn who they are and adjust the way you approach them to things that they like.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And I've seen you drop off wine, of course, the Kurz Real Estate Magazine. I've seen you drop off market reports, comparative market analysis, 3-page letters. I mean, what else am I missing here?
I mean, if I can get their email, I send out constant emails. I feel like a different touch every day is a great way to do it. An email, but nothing, you don't even have to bring up the listing, just something, just some way to get in front of them.
So some of the folks watching right now are going to say, oh my goodness, that's too much. If somebody was doing that to me, I would be so annoyed.
You do it in a pleasant way, all right? So, for instance, my mom, she owns an apartment in Manhattan. Somebody had sent her, which is where I had originally gotten the idea, somebody had sent her something to our house in Queens. It was some sort of gift basket or something, a broker. And she was so impressed by it, she was so taken back that they had gone through that much effort. And I'm not going to say that broker's name, but if she ever does decide to sell her apartment, he will be getting it and also giving me 25%.
So she was taken back because this guy wanted to lease this apartment for her, right?
Yeah.
And it's a nice condo. Where's it located in Manhattan?
Close to Wall Street.
Close to Wall Street. So here's a sought after area, right? Which is important for this particular agent. I'm sure it's leasing out for a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
And he went through the trouble finding out who the owner was, okay? Where they lived, because they didn't live in the apartment because obviously she was renting it out, and sent them a package.
Yeah.
And then, so your mom is completely blown away by this and decides to work with him because he was the only one that took the extra step to get ahead in advance.
Absolutely. I think the time is going to pass anyway. Whatever you're doing that's not cold calling or it's not doing drop-offs, there is time in the day to also do that. I don't know why you wouldn't add it into your business. That's not all I do. I spend a decent amount of my time doing tons of other things that every other agent does, but it's something that's added in. Why wouldn't I do it?
All right, so cold calling, drop-offs, which are basically door knocking.
Yeah.
Give me one more thing you do before we let them go.
Overall, networking, trying to get into the right places with the right people, always going to charity things, becoming friends with people. And what really touched for me was I don't force myself on anyone. I don't constantly talk about real estate. I don't constantly offer my services. I don't hand out hundreds of business cards. It's really just getting on a personal level with someone in any conversation, any civilized conversation for that matter. What someone does for a living is going to come up at some point, and it's just you let them know what you do.
Remember when you first joined and I said any good conversation could relate to real estate some way, somehow.
It's going to come up one way or another, and you just let them know what you do. And if you go to enough events with the same people, you start seeing people. And I've gotten, the one in Sunny Isles that I just got just from being around people and always being able to relate and be personal, have good conversations with people.
That's at the Trump Tower, right?
Yeah, and always, knowing what you're talking about. Don't talk out of your rear end. Don't say something that you're not sure of. If somebody has a question for you, don't know the answer, say you'll find out. And just be genuine. I've even stopped. I used to be the tie and shoe guy. I'm not even wearing socks now. I would dress comfortably. Be yourself. Do what makes you feel confident. And I think it exudes on itself, and other people will feel it as well.
So I hope you enjoyed episode 2 of Confessions of a Real Estate Agent. It was a real pleasure to do this with Alex, my family, my brother, and to really help people get a better understanding on how someone that's not from Miami, that doesn't know a soul here except for me, makes it to the level that he's at right now. So thanks for doing this with me, man. I really appreciate it, bro. All right, we're gonna see you guys soon for episode 3. I don't know who's gonna be on this one yet, but you guys pay attention. You can follow us at kurzre.com. You can call the office at 786-529-5273. You can buy my book on Amazon, The Blueprint, Strategies to Building a Successful Real Estate Business. Don't miss out. Everything I've ever taught any of my agents is sitting inside those covers right there. Anything you want to say to everybody before we go?
You can do it.
Keep closing, baby.